What's up guys, welcome back to another installment of beating this guy into submission, the 32nd scale Harrier. Spoiler alert, we're going to use about half a tube of filler in this as we get through and get this ready for this stage here, which is ready for priming and painting next week. So this week we're going to talk about assembly and getting this guy together, which isn't the easiest, but we get there in the end. So a lot of waffling and talking in this one, so please bear with me and we'll get going.
Okay, so back and carry on with assembly. So basically this big lump here we're going to get working on. Built the intakes already. They're not too bad fit actually. It's in open position, you can open or closed. And they fit on just like this. And actually that's not bad at all. So I'm going to do the same as this. I'm going to paint it white on the inside. I should probably mask it first before I stick it on. So then we have that line between the grey and the white. So it's a little bit easier than trying to do it when it's all like assembled like that. But yeah, pretty impressed with that fit actually. It's quite nice on those intakes. Tail, done the tail already. This is going to be black if you remember the scheme we're doing, so I'll just paint this separately. Got the obligatory glue fingerprint in there to sand off, which is kind of a pain, but lots of bit of detail, but it's going to be fine. So this fits no problem at all, so again, we'll just paint this separately. Very end, add it to the aircraft once we're all done. So yeah, we're moving along quite nicely. So ready up to step 8. We did all that already. Step 9 here, did the intakes. Just talked about those. Did the tail. Horizontal stabilizers, one part. Again, we'll paint weather those separately and add them at the very end. So nothing really needs to be done there. These guys, a few parts here, be different colors. It'll be easy to paint those separately and add them on at the very end. So kind of zipping through part 9. Part 10, we added this bit already. I'm not going to add little aerials and antennas and stuff. They're going to break off. Fuel probe, we'll see. We might add that at the very end as well. If you can do the gun pods, it's going to be 11 and 12. We might do those, I don't know yet. Then it takes us up to 13. So there's only 16 parts, I think, in this, up to weapons. Let's see. Like 18 parts. So we're going on pretty nicely now. So it's all building these little sub-assemblies. So next up, we added that panel already. Again, this we added at the very end. It's going to snap off. I'll start highlighting some of this stuff so I remember at the end of the build to add them later. The chaffs, dispensers, again, they'll be painted separate colors, so it's probably easy to do separately. Oh, knocking the camera. So next up is probably the wings. So look at my box here. I've cut one off already, did a quick test fit because I was a little worried it wouldn't all fit, but actually it's pretty nice. So fits nicely, and then there's a little gap on the seam there, but if you just kind of push it down and let the glue stick, it should get rid of that seam gap. So it shouldn't be too bad at all. So looking at this, I'm going to add the 2 wings, and then we'll move on to the slats, which I've done one already. 3-piece, not bad at all. So that's done. You can't have them in that kind of deploy position. Looks like it's up only on this kit, which again is kind of a bummer for a 32nd scale kit. So I've got a few parts to do here, walk through the build a little bit, and then we've got to figure out if we're going to do the gun pods or not, and then we've got the exhaust nozzle. So that's pretty much what we'll do today. We'll get ready for kind of priming next week. So let me go ahead and start working on this and getting these wings on, and I'll report back how they go, and then we'll just work our way through the rest of the stuff. Alright, so got one wing on, and now I'm going to do the other. So show you how I do it. So this kind of stuff, I like to use a thicker glue, the white top cement. This guy right here. I don't tip it too much, the lid's off, it's going to spill everywhere. So this takes a while, extra thin, but if you try to do extra thin with this, it will just evaporate by the time you got there. So I'm just going to run down all the spots. If you notice too, I switch my brush. You get a really thick brush, and I just put the extra thin brush in this. It's a lot easier to kind of control it. So just run some single glue everywhere. And I come back to the wing. Wait a minute, this one isn't quite as cooperating as the first one. There we go. Let's get lined up. Okay, then my favorite is close pegs. Get at Amazon real cheap. I got big boxes in plastic. Just clamp this in place. The glue dries. Make sure it's clicked in place, all lined up, and that's what we're going to do. So I might let this dry for a little bit. I might run down the seams too, some extra thin, just kind of weld it in. But we'll do this first, and then once this is dry, then we can kind of position it in and get rid of that seam on the joint right here. So if you can see me right now, I'm actually covered in dust. My t-shirt is just full of like white dust. Yeah, I can't remember last time I did this much filling and sanding. Maybe it was a rodent kit, I don't know, but it's been a while, but it's light at the end of the tunnel. I think we're almost there. So as you can see, we have the flaps, no problem at all. Again, unfortunately, you can't, like, being this kit, you think being 32nd, you at least have a feature where you can drop them and the 2 stages and stuff, but you have to have them up. At least this one has a little bit of deflection on it. Deflection, I'm sure what word I'm looking for there. There, and these seams done, but that was a ball ache. Seriously, so I used super glue and kicker just to hold it down, and then came with some filler too, and just to get in there, that gap was a real nightmare. But it's looking good. It's not perfect, but by the time you're not going to see it under there anyway, and by the time I put primer and stuff on, it's going to be okay. So basically, I basically have to go hardcore and use one of my metal files. This one's like a it's like an angled shape to kind of get in there, really go at it, and then selection of sanding sticks, sponges, all kinds of stuff to get at it, and it was a pain in the ass. But I think we're pretty much done. Also filled this area here and got rid of that one, so it needs a little bit of rescribing too, just to kind of clean it up. But I'm interested to get the primer on now, see how these seams look. Hopefully, fingers crossed, they look okay. This one's been a couple of days now, so hopefully it's, plenty of time, it's not going to reopen or anything. So the main down and dirty part I think is done. I'm just going to remove some scratches on here. Again, just using like a polishing sponge. Take out the small scratches and bring in this guy. Again, just polish it up. Not that you can see any of this, but just to get the plastic nice. Okay, cool. So that's done. I also filled and you have to fill around all these intakes here. There's little gaps, so the whole thing got filled and sanded down. That's a pain in the ass too, but just another one of those things to do. So I did that now. It looks seamless, and it's gonna look really good once it's back on there. See, it actually fits really nicely. So what I'm gonna do now is for these guys, I'm gonna prime in black, like match the upper side, then do the white, which is almost probably like about 4/5 the way across, and then I'll mask it up. I think this line here is what I'm going to use. Sorry, this line right here, if you can see that, it's like a raised. See that raised line there? So I'm going to use that as my marking. So I'm going to mark along there with masking tape, and once you get it across around here and glued on, so then this will be all white and just a bit of foam in there, so it makes it a lot easier for painting and stuff, and we'll get that nice kind of crisp kind of separation line between the grey and the white. So these guys will get primed up, which will be the next job. The other thing, more filling and stuff with these guys. They built the nozzles, and again, sanding, filling, all that kind of jazz. Hopefully getting some of these lines out on all 4 of these guys. So it's pretty much just 2 kind of things inside. Actually, not bad detail. So it's 2. This one's looks a little crooked, but it's two bits of plastic in the middle, kind of like fam, and then 2 parts here, so to get the seam line, help them from the camera, seam line, and yeah, so all these 4 nozzles basically, and then these will just go on, I'm not sure which one's which, I think this goes in the back. Oh, I spotted something now. So these back ones you have to glue, and I've glued them, so I've glued them in a certain place, but there's tabs on here, so now they're going to be stuck in that position. So what I'm going to have to do is, when I come to it, I'm going to have to cut the tabs off, and then so I can just glue them in the position I want, because I don't want them diagonally like that necessarily. Sorry, but I want them kind of more down or back, depending on what I'm going to do. So yeah, so that's a good point. So when you put that middle bit in, you have to really think about that where you want it, because it's glued. So again, it's not a big deal. I just cut these tabs off and just glue it in. There's plenty of tabs point right there. Then I think these guys go at the front. These are obviously rotate. Sorry, I'm having a hard time getting this thing in camera focus. This thing's so big, I'm keeping it off screen. So this fits on there and it turns. But these ones don't for some reason. Cool, so these are all different colors and stuff to paint up separately, but we're almost there. I mean, looking through here, I mean, just looking through the instructions, we're pretty much ready for priming this main beast, I think. Just really the canopy to go on. So yeah, so let me think. So really, all I got left to do now is let me go ahead and get, like I mentioned, get these primed and painted on the inside, and then we'll get them masked up and installed. And once that's on, I think we're going to be almost ready to get the canopy on and call this one ready for priming. Right, so I've got one intake on, masked up, good to go, and looking pretty good. Just kind of line it up a little bit. Actually, fit was really good, so no problem at all. So that one's on. See how it kind of leans forward a little bit. That's the way it should go. And again, I did mask left and right, so I knew which one was which. So how I went about this was that side. You see here, I put some masking tape on along the line. There's a line, a raised line on the actual plastic here. So we painted all this white. So I had some masking tape along here and just kind of folded it in a little bit. And what's going to happen is the intake's going to go on top of this. Fold it in the back a little bit more. Okay, so mask that line first from here, and we also paint the inside white. What I did do was, let me take a step back. So I primed it same as this black, and then sprayed it white, same white, and then what I did was I added a quick matte clear coat to it just to protect the paint a little bit, because I was worried that I don't want to do all these steps and then masking tape to pull off the paint. So just a precaution, I just cleared both sides. I clear coated, left for a few hours. So this next is going to go on glued on like this. And then once that's glued and dried, then I can take the masking tape with some tweezers and then just kind of like fettle with it and kind of get it around so I get like a nice line around the inside. So that's the easiest way to mask it, I think. So that line's all set, just need to take care of the upper side. So what I'm going to do is just going to come in with some cement. And glue that intake on. Actually take the tape off now. Try to get it the right way around. And I'm just going to let this dry, and then come some extra thin and glue these little bits on to the side. I want to get this main guy on first. As you can see here, this actually bit's a little too long. It's just not quite fitting right, so I'm just going to clip a little bit off the bottom. There you go, so it just fits a little bit better. So, put a little extra thin. Let's run it down the sides. Again, I'll just check, make sure my masking tape wasn't caught up in this. So, we're looking good. And kind of dropping everything here. So, extra thin on these guys. Okay, so I'm just going to let this dry, set a little bit before I do the rest of it. It's kind of still moving a little bit, so I just want to make sure it's set completely on here. So, just see position. So I'm going to hold this on, let it dry, and once that's dry, I'm going to go ahead and get all these guys pushed in and glued, and then tape on the inside. And then the inside just built packing foam. The stuff you get with the any resin stuff you buy is great. Well, you put cotton wool or whatever, piece like this, just fold it in half. And just slot it down and see when I paint, I got the line, the yellow line for the mark, for the grey, sorry, and then the inside's gonna be protected from the paint, the grey paint we're gonna spray on. Cool, so let me take care of this and I'll be right back. Right, so as you see, made a little bit more progress here. So that intake is on, no real problem there, and masked up. Again, a little foam pushed in. So we're ready to go with the paint. And on the other side, gun pods. So you've got a choice of the gun pods or the, I'm not sure what you call them really, kind of like stabilizers maybe. Just seems a big seam line you take care of there, but put those on. This side is, try to see which side it is. This side actually has a bit of a gap again. See, there's a gap. So that this needs to be taken care of. I guess a little bit more filler once again. So yeah, it's not the best fitting kit at all. So this is on with that guy behind it. Also added these two parts too, because these are the fuselage colours, so I must have glued those on. This tail is obviously loose, so like I said, to paint that black separately. And also you can see added the pylons. Big hefty pylons. So not to paint and wear the pylons separately. In this case I decided to just go ahead and glue them on. It's design, it's plenty of room to work with, the same colour as everything else, so it should be pretty straightforward. So I glued those on. Now I'm wondering if it's going to hit me in the arse if you have to do the leading edges different colour. So let me see real quick on the colour call out. Okay, phew, okay. The RAF one always has like different leading edges. This one is the same colour, so okay, we're good. I was worried it'd be causing me an issue kind of masking all this up the leading edges, but no, it looks like we're good. So yeah, again, this is the scheme we're going for. So say the tail section here, it's all going to be black, so it's easy to just paint that separately and just stick it on the end with some super glue. Cool. So one thing with the pylons to note is you see how the wings are angled, but the pylons are straight down. Because they're angled certain ways, so I think the structures might be wrong. I could have mixed them up, but I put them on the wrong wings, so they're all kind of like weird angles and stuff. So luckily the glue hadn't dried, so I could take them all off and switch them to the other wing. So when you do look at it, it's kind of hard to get so big on this camera screen, but they should be straight down and not angled, because of the angle of the wing. It's just designed so they don't go one side basically left or right. So make sure you get those the right way around. Like I said, the first time around I didn't, but luckily I could pull them off and switch them before I noticed pretty quickly. But yeah, we're taking shape. It's looking pretty good now. It's a lot of work. I'm a little nervous about all these seam lines and stuff. We won't know until we get a primer on how they look, but most of the main assembly is actually done. So I need to fill the edge of these gun pods, just fill out the seam real quick. And next up is this little panel that goes behind here. Photo etch, I think it is, and then we're going to get the canopy on. And one thing I noticed too is this canopy doesn't have an open or closed option. It just has to be closed, I believe, unless you do some surgery and stuff. So we're going to have the canopy closed, which is no big deal. I'm also need that seat in, and then we'll get the HUD put on, canopy masked and installed, and then we're actually getting ready to paint this whole guy, so we'll get it primed and painted pretty soon. So let me go ahead and start getting the HUD on, which I always screw up and break, the stupid photo etch ones. This panel on the back and the canopy masked up, and then when I come back we'll be kind of almost final, ready for almost the final kind of show and reveal before we start the paint and wearing stage. So I know it's been a lot of waffling and stuff, but I mean there's a lot going into this. It's a big kit and it doesn't fit well, so I'll try to explain the best I can all the little problems I had. So if you build this, hopefully you don't come in the same kind of issues as I found. So cool. Okay, so let me go ahead and get on with that. I'll be right back. We've made it. Whew. Now I hope it didn't sound like I've been complaining. I don't mind all the filling and stuff. I used a lot of filler. It's kind of old school modeling and doing some pretty easy kits recently out of the box. I don't mind it at all. It's good practice and stuff anyway. So we're done. So here she looks with the canopy on. And everything else. Looking pretty good. So if these are one piece, the only thing I meant to note is made a left and a right and marked with Sharpie. It's pretty easy to understand anyway, because if you look at the shape, it should face down like this, and obviously not up, it should be down. So this is obviously the left side, this is right. So that's pretty much it. So mask up the canopy, no need for a mask set on this one. It's pretty easy, just using the old curved tape from Harrier and some filling up some usual yellow tape. Pretty easy is way canopies go. The little photo etch goes onto there. The part underneath the canopy, this guy, I had a little bit of a scare because this is a different shape. The kit one's a different shape to what I got with the resin Airy set. So luckily, I looked everywhere, looked for a trash can, looked everywhere, and it happened to be on my little paint rack. I painted it black already, so I didn't realize I did that. So lucky I found it, because this wouldn't have worked. And I've been whole world of problems because it wouldn't fit around the cockpit. So that one's on. I just front canopy, I used extra thin and really kind of glued that down. Fingers crossed it doesn't fog. It was open, so I don't think it did. I used a little bit more than I anticipated, so hopefully, fingers crossed, we take all this off, it's going to be okay. The back's just a couple of dots of PVA glue just to hold it in place. Even though the canopy's going to be down, we actually need to take it off, because when I finally get my deck cord, I got to put it on the inside. I've had this shipment delay for weeks now from Flight 11X. I emailed a guy, he never responded back to me, said it might be an old PayPal claim, I guess, but I don't know why he's on my crap list right now, because I've got 2 projects essentially on hold because I'm waiting for some parts, and I ordered 3 weeks ago, not shipped out yet. Emailed a guy, he never responded back, so I don't know what's going on there. But anyway, looking good. So the only thing is, as always for my kits, made a screw up of the HUD. I don't think I've ever built one kit before has a HUD in place, built correctly or whatever. That's just my nemesis in model making. So I did get the HUD in there, and it looked perfect. I got the glass on there, looked no problem at all. Then when I went to put my front canopy on, it was a little too, because it's Aries cockpit, remember, it was a little bit too high. It was like knocking off the canopy slightly, so canopy wasn't fitting correctly. So I just ripped it out and then put the canopy on, because my main priority is getting the canopy on rather than the HUD. So the canopy's on, okay. Some point in time, I might, when this is done, I might try to snip it down and see if I can reinstall the HUD, or if not, the kit version here too I could use potentially if I want to go that route. I could just leave it. I mean, that's my trademark now. I leave the HUDs off, because whatever, these photo etch ones just drive me bananas. They just so fragile, and trying to get the glass lined up in it and stuff. It's just, I don't know, it's one of the worst things ever. So that was my little drama with the canopy, but I think we're on, and now I'm really looking forward to seeing how it looks with the primer on, because obviously the primer is not just for the painted here, but we're going to see how all these seams look underneath, and I'm fully kind of expecting that these still need a lot more work. We lose so much putty everywhere, it's ridiculous, pretty much everywhere. Oh, my one other scare too was the sway braces. I put them all on, I had missing one, so I was on the hands and knees on the carpet for like 20 minutes trying to look for it, and then I was looking for my box trying to find this part of the canopy, and I actually found it loose in the box, so we have all the sway braces. So I got lucky on 2 fronts there. So that is it. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to clean down my bench. We've done so much sanding the past few days and filling and stuff. There's dust everywhere. It's not conducive to a paint environment. So I'm going to give this bench a really good clean down, get the vacuum out and everything, which I hate doing during a build in case you suck up anything. But I'm pretty sure at this stage, everything we need is on the jet. So the little antennas and stuff are still attached to the sprues, and we'll put those on at the end. So I'm going to get the vacuum out, give this thing a good clean, get the desk wiped down, get rid of all this dust. And then once done that, then we'll come back and we can actually start priming this, which would be quite a beast. It's quite a big lump, as you can see. So interesting to see how it looks in primer. And then paint's going to be pretty straightforward. It's going to be the usual light ghost gray all over. And then on the tail here I think it's dark ghost gray, dark compass ghost gray on the top. The actual colors I actually have in stock, which is Candy, and I'll be using Guns Aqueous. So it's 307 is a lighter color, and 308 is the dark color on top. Not that as much. I think is that right around? Maybe I misspoke. 307 on top. 307 on top, and the light ghost gray is this one, which is 36375, and that goes on the bottom. Not much difference, to be honest with you. I might change the top one, make it a little bit darker, maybe to make more of a difference. Also, what I did too is these are semi-gloss, so I just added a little bit of the Tamiya fat flat base, just literally 1 drop in the tub, just to kind of mix it up, to give it hopefully more of a flat sheen to it, rather than more of a shiny one. Not that it makes much difference, because we had clear coats and stuff later on anyway. But that's kind of talking ahead next week. Kind of give me a preview of what will coming up next week. This episode, sorry, it's been a lot of talking. I'll try to edit as much as I can down to it, but I mean, just trying to explain everything, getting this big beast together. This today is probably the main bulk of work on here. But yeah, cool. So we got there in the end. So hopefully you bear with me this long, and apologize for all the talking and stuff. Have a great week, and I'll see you next week. So goodbye.